What's going on, everybody? This is Mick. It's been a while since my last video that I put out, and as you may or may not know, EVO is coming up in the near future. So we got to be preparing, we got to be ready, because when we go there, we can't be looking like scrubs. As y'all know, you want to do well. I want to do well. I'm hoping to do a lot better than I did last year. I believe I made it to like the 4th round or something, and got taken out by a bison. Just an outrageous, like who the fuck are you kind of play. And I don't want that happening again. You know, that would suck. I don't want to be like the guy who goes out again the 4th round. So, what I'm doing today is I'm coming at you with a new training video, essentially pointing out one of the new things that I figured out that involves taking advantage of the opportunity of offense when it is given to you. So what do I mean by this? Well, what I'm going to be working with today is frames. And as you can see, I have a setup where Sagat's basically going to dash forward, walk back, and toss out some jabs. And the reason I have him doing this is basically the dash forward is to simulate the notion that something is going to happen, and then he'll walk back and do some jabs after he crouches. And the reason I'm doing this is to simulate essentially the crouch teching that a person will do. Obviously, he's not crouch teching because he's tossing out light punches, but it's essentially there to say, you know what, the opponent's probably going to be pushing buttons because they're afraid of a grab. And even if they're not, this is simulating the scenario where they do push buttons. So as I say, he's dashing forward, he's walking back, and what I'm going to do in this scenario is I'm going to jump at him, possibly with a mid kick, possibly with a heavy punch, possibly with a light jab, you know? And what we'll notice here is that as I jump in with all these different moves, the resulting frames in which Sagat has to actually do anything as a result of it will be different. So if I jump in with a light punch, he's able to jab really quickly. As you can see, he's jabbing almost instantly. Let's try this one more time with that light punch. I'm going to let him walk back a little bit more so we can see. So as you can see, almost instantly. Not nearly enough to really get a really good hit in. But if I jump in with a heavy punch, I can hit him all the way at his head before he starts reacting. Let's try that one more time. As you can see, I was able to hit him at his head and land, and then only then was he able to get the jab out. So, what does that mean, though? That essentially means that as the person on offense, I really control how quickly how quickly my opponent is able to do anything. And a lot of us will jump in using the same, for instance, I'm notorious. I love mid-kick. I love the mid-kick of Makoto's. It's just very fast. It's very long. It's like one of her longest ranging moves, and it crosses up, so it's great in a whole bunch of situations. However, it's not always great. And what I mean by that is, like, by doing the same move all the time, there's always going to be the same frames for which the Sagat can react. So as such, I'm not really playing a game with him. All I'm doing is tossing out the same move, and he's probably equipped to handle it because he's seen it multiple times. However, as you can see, I've learned a few things. So I'm going to start out with the mid punch. I've learned, actually, a few days ago, in fact, and I've been trying to work on it, that if I hit the Sagat with the mid kick about where his head is, almost where his shoulders are, then by the time I land, I can toss out a heavy punch. And if he tosses out a jab, it's going to blow it up. Let's see if I can pull this off. Give me a few times if it doesn't work. Oh, look at that. Counter hit. More time. A little bit too early. A little bit too late there. One more time. One more time. Oh. There we go. Now, obviously, I'm still somewhat new to this. I've actually just pulled Sagat out today. I usually do it on a few different characters, and Sagat just happened to be, like, my attempt at trying somebody tall. But as you can see, like, I'm able to set up good counter hit situations because I know exactly what happens. I say, I'm tossing it out right here. And if he tosses out a jab, this move will counter hit it every time. And, obviously it's something you got to train, but it's something that you can do. And it's something that I can do as the person on offense to control the situation. Now, what happens if I jump in with something else? Well, let's simulate jumping in with the heavy punch. Let's say I have that option, right? I have the mid-kick option and I have the heavy punch option. So with the heavy punch, I've noticed that because the amount of frames that Sagat has the amount of block stun he's in is a lot longer, I actually have to hit him almost above his head, actually above his head, so that by the time I land and throw out the heavy punch, the same situation occurs. So let's see this. Above the head, a little too early. One more time. Let's see if I can get this. There we go. One more time. One more time. Let's see if there we go. You see how this is working? And it always works that way because I know, you know, how high I need to hit him at. How much time I need to give him. And actually, this works much better on certain characters. For instance, Rose, if you hit her right on the head, if you hit her right smack dab, like on her head where her hair is, then you're going to get a counter hit almost every time. That's something I learned yesterday. So also, so now we got the heavy punch, we got the mid kick. What about the light punch? This is one thing, light punch or light kick. This is one move where when you toss it out, the hit stun is very minimal, almost non-existent. So what I'm going to try and do is hit him as low as I possibly can and see if this works. As you can see, that came out really quick. I have to hit him even lower than that. Almost worked it. One more time. Too high. Hit him right in the abs. There. A little higher than the abs. Oh, almost got him right there. So about the pecs. There we go. One more time. Let's get this. Let's get this one more time. Man, unfortunately, this one doesn't work as well. There we go. We're kind of getting it now. Kind of getting it. Wow. One more time. There we go. You can go in the... Look at that. That was supposed to be an ultra. So what? Anyways, as you can kind of see the idea of the whole thing is that as the person on offense, you essentially control the game, and you play the the offensive match not by going crazy and tossing insane shit out, but instead by controlling the frames that are available and knowing the options and the outcomes that will occur, based on what you as one contender does and the options that the other contender does. And that's how the game is played. So, let's say that I recognize, for instance, in this scenario, that the Sagat's not going to be tossing out the jabs. I know that he's been punished maybe once or twice in the match, and he's kind of scared because maybe he's low on life. Or maybe he doesn't know it, but maybe you're playing a better player, and he understands how this game is played. You might know that he's not going to react because you, as an intelligent player, understand what happens if he does. So what can you do in that situation? Well, Makoto, this is why she's very deadly, because she has a mix-up of essentially a block, an attack, or a grab, similar to Zangief, in fact. Now, obviously, the grab isn't super far ranged, and she does have her downfalls, like if the person backdashes. Thankfully, that has a counter to it. But it makes it very scary, because as the opponent, if you know that this is a scenario that can occur, you know that by tossing out any sort of crouch text, you're essentially opening yourself up for a full counter hit combo. If I have super, then it's a full super to ultra right there, assuming I don't screw it up again. And you also know that by not attacking, you're opening yourself up to a Karakusa, which in itself is deadly because that essentially is a free combo. So, take this, training. Take this to the training arena. Do some work it out. Look to see what options you have, and set it up for yourself such that when you're in a match, you know exactly what to do when you're trying to control a situation. Anyways, somewhat longer video, but I hope you enjoyed it. Take care, everybody. Good luck at Evo.